Hello, everybody. In Parshat Shlach Lecha, we read about what may possibly have been the Jewish people's greatest blunder of all times. Instead of proceeding directly from Mount Sinai to the land of Israel, they sent spies across to explore the land and bring back a report. When almost all the spies returned with a report about how hard it would be to live in the land with giant enemies who they said Bnei Israel could never defeat, the people panicked and said they didn't want to go into the land. They said they would rather die in the desert. And for this, God punished them big time. He made them wander in the desert for 40 years until that generation which didn't want to enter the promised land died out, and only after that could the next generation go into the land of Israel. Refusing to enter the land of Israel was a terrible mistake, and Bnei Israel paid for it dearly. Well, I was wondering, how could the people of Israel have messed up so badly? After all the miracles they had seen and all the great stuff that God had done for them, they didn't believe Him that this was the promised land. They had been at Sinai, they were at the highest spiritual level. What caused them to go wrong? Perhaps it was because that they were scared. Deep down they knew that even in the land of Israel, the miracles would continue and that they would be able to conquer the land from the giants. But that's not what they were really afraid of. Beneath the surface, they were afraid to leave the desert and face challenges of living in the real world. In the desert, they had it too good. Food from the sky every day, drinking water, clothes, and even climate control were all provided to them by God. Life in the desert was supernatural, and they were afraid of coming to the land of Israel and having to work for themselves, to sow and reap and harvest and make bread for themselves. The people of Israel wanted to stay in the desert with God doing everything for them, and this is where they erred. This story in Shlach Lecha has personal meaning for me and I think all NCSYers. I attended public school for 9 years before I started at the Jewish Academy for high school, where I began to realize how much there really was to learn about Judaism. While there, I started to learn about all the different mitzvot, like kashrut, Shabbat, davening. There was so much stuff about Judaism that I had never even known existed. At the same time, I realized that it wasn't that easy to keep all the mitzvot, especially outside of school. And then I was introduced to NCSY. At each Shabbaton, I found that I could easily keep the mitzvot there. I kept Shabbos because that's how the Shabbaton was set up. I kept kosher because all the food there was kosher. It was easy to find time to daven because there were set minions with sitters for everybody. NCSY created an atmosphere where it was easy to be Jewish because everyone and everything around you was Jewish. With NCSY these past 4 years, being Jewish was comfortable, and I enjoyed every single minute of it. But now I'm done with high school, and this fall I'm off to college, and I can't stay here with NCSY. I have to move forward. Like Bnei Israel in the desert, everything Jewish was taken care of for me at NCSY. Like God's numerous miracles for the people in the wilderness, NCSY provided me with an easy atmosphere to live Jewish. But now my fellow NCSY graduates and I stand on the border between the wilderness and the promised land, between high school and the real world. But where the spies and the people of Israel turned back, it is important that I and the other high school graduates move forward. We should look forward to the challenge of living Jewish in the real world and not be scared and give up. NCSY took care of us and taught us how for these last 4 years. Now it's time for us to stand up on our own. The people of Israel were scared of going into the land of Israel because they didn't know if they would be able to survive. The people were afraid that without God's miracles helping them with everything, they would falter and become assimilated in the land. But we don't have that fear today because NCSY has shown us that you can live as a Jew in the 21st century. We have been prepared for the challenge of the real world for these last few years with NCSY, and I look forward to tackling that challenge and succeeding along with all the past and future graduates of NCSY.